J live from historic downtown Herndon, Green Brilliance Studios. Green Brilliance, powering a solar future. I've said that. This is the second time I've said that. I love it. I love it. Adam J live. Today, we have a very special guest, Amkar, lead engineer, Green Brilliance. And what I'm really getting at is, to you homeowners out there, homeowners, you care about solar. We care about solar. But the heart and soul of a solar project is truly the engineer, the hero of solar. Amkar, welcome to the show. How are we doing today? Senior engineer, Green Brilliance, how are we doing today? So listen, I appreciate you coming on the show.
My pleasure.
And at the end of the day, the mission today, and a keyword mission, is to honestly kind of talk about what happened yesterday, where I got a phone call personally from a homeowner just raving about their solar system. And this isn't even a plug for Green Brilliance. This is, we'll see where I'm going with this. That client was going on and on about our customer service, about how, they're paying almost zero electric, on their utility bill, how from start to finish that install was flawless, it was quick. And yeah, I'm biased. So at the end of the day, I loved hearing all of those things, and I definitely want to talk about these things, but something was missing from that conversation with that client. And that's why I really felt the need to bring you on today. The engineer, the hero of the solar world. Without the engineer, without you, we are nothing, my friend. And that is the mission today, to discuss, to peel back like an onion, what an engineer truly does for a solar project, for a PV solar project, and how important they are, how much they actually care. And yes, I'm imagining Amkar right now with a cape, sky high in the air, okay? Look, Amkar, again, I want you to know this. Homeowners care. But homeowners, I want you to know this. Engineers care just as much, if not more, for you. And through this, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. So let's dive into it. Fair enough?
Yep.
Talk to me about your history, your background. From my understanding, this is your first job, yet generally a first job is about 9 months, and then you just kind of move on, you give up, and if you were like me, you move on a couple times.
Sure. So my interest in solar started when I was in third year of my undergrad back in BITS Pilani Dubai campus. And over there, I saw many solar panels arrays, like the commercial solar PV system installed. So from
what is a PV system again? Because I said PV too, and I didn't explain it.
No worries. It's a photovoltaic. PV stands for photovoltaic.
Okay.
So all the solar panels that we see on the rooftop as well as the ground mount, those are called PV solar panels.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're there. I understand.
Okay. So after that, I got interested to learn more about solar energy, why it is very much important for everyone to get installed at their home properties, as well as to have that renewable energy used instead of fossil fuels. So I did few researches. I got opportunity to come to UIUC. That's University of Urbana-Champaign in Illinois. So
okay.
I went there on a business visa. I did a paper presentation. It was just through IEEE. So IEEE stands for Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers.
Jeez.
So after
smart.
that, I am like, okay, since I'm very much into this, let's pursue for the master's. So I applied for a couple of universities. I got selected for UMass Lowell. So I did my master's over there for 2 years. So during that time, 90% of my courses were into solar energy. So whatever I wanted to learn, I got a broader perspective of the solar energy. It is not just understanding, doing research about solar panels. It is much more than that. It's like I was just 1% educated before I joined masters. So after doing masters, after completing masters, I thought that I'm 100% educated about solar, but it was not like that. I was just 5 to 10%, which I got to know when I joined Green Brilliance. So as soon as I joined Green Brilliance, I got to know that whatever I learned, it is not just not just about solar energy that I need to implement in my career. So I was thrown out into multiple different departments. I understood how to do designing, permitting, interconnection in the initial phase of my tenure in Green Brilliance. So that's about me. And during that tenure, I also gave a couple of exams. So one of the top exam that in solar industry is NABCEP PVIP.
Okay.
So it was my interest that I had that intellectual understanding plus interest to do the certification. So it was difficult, but I am glad that I got that certification.
So I'm glad you brought up certifications. Would it be fair to say, and honestly, it may not be, I want to know. It sounds like you're certified in a lot of things. We don't have to list all of them. Okay, we know you're smart. Does the certification and a master's degree make the engineer, or does the experience make the engineer? You understand? Like
yes.
A doctor, they can only do so much practical knowledge until they're actually thrown into a surgery to watch the surgery, and eventually they're doing the surgery. You understand what I'm getting at?
So it's a mix of everything. Like it's all depend on you. If you are engineer, if you want to upscale your skills, you need to have certifications. It's not just for you, it's for the company as well. So the certifications that I gave and everyone in the solar company usually gives, it's more about product certification. You should know about how a solar panel works. So there are a couple of certification of solar panel manufacturers. You need to know about the inverters, batteries. So there are different companies that provide the certification. And on top of that, there are different certifications and licenses, which as an engineer, with your own interest, you have to give. And with the master's degree, it's just icing on the cake. Like if you have interest about to become an engineer, you need to have that knowledge. That knowledge is being approved by a university. That's why if you do masters, you have that ample amount of knowledge to pursue, because as you told about yesterday's example, right? How to handle that particular situation of a homeowner. So that is being handled by the engineer because we have that training, that understanding of handling any kind of a risk. All the homeowners, whoever, like for this particular industry, solar industry, any problem that incurs during the install is being handled by engineer. That's by default. I can give one example. So I think a year back, we had a customer who had a problem with the inverter. Inverter as in, when the day of install, we install...
What's an inverter?
Okay. So inverter is a product. It's I would say
we'll get to the nuts and bolts, but just in general.
So it converts DC power into AC power. That's direct current into alternating current. Because in any home, you can't use direct current. You need to have the alternating current in the electrical panel.
And the sun produces the direct current?
That's right.
Okay, so basically it transfers the sun into usable energy?
That's right. So it converts the photons into the electricity through solar panels. And that power from solar panels is direct current. And from that direct current, we have either microinverters that converts DC current to AC current from solar panel, or we have a string inverter that converts DC power to AC power as accumulation of all solar panels. So the problem that we had of this customer is like we installed 7.6 kilowatt inverter. It's a inverter size.
Sure.
For a system size of 8.2 kilowatt. So typically, while sizing the inverter, we make sure that we choose a correct inverter for a system size. So during the day of install, for some reason, customers like, since you had option of 10 kilowatt inverter, why did you choose 7.6? So this particular question cannot be answered by a salesperson or any management person, accounting, finance. It is only handled by engineer. So we had that question transferred to the engineering department, and one of the engineers answered this, saying that this 7.6 inverter have the threshold of up to 9.6 kilowatt system size, DC system size.
So we have to go up.
Yeah, it can go up, and it can handle a system size
more, like more extra strength.
Exactly.
All right.
So having an inverter of 10 kilowatt is not won't matter. I mean, it won't make sense just because you're just using a bigger size inverter for a smaller system size, and ultimately your system won't give ample amount of production. So that particular engineering skills is something that any engineer, after certain experience, some education background, can only answer. So we need some training as well. It is not just any engineer can do this.
Combination.
Yeah, it's a combination.
So as we talk, it's very humble of you to not really just say I. You've mentioned we. And as you say we, I'm thinking, again, I'm going back to that hero where I'm picturing you as Batman, and maybe there's a Robin, and then maybe there's, I honestly didn't follow Batman too well, but what I'm getting at is a team. At Green Brilliance, are we predominantly engineers?
We are. So this company was founded by engineer. Like 20 years ago, Sumit Bhatnagar, he was a visionary. He, instead of just pursuing what he was doing, he wanted to make sure that we are doing something good for the environment. And solar energy, solar installation, EPC company is something he dreamt of, and he started this company. So the challenges that he faced was handled by him and his team in the initial days, was by the bunch of engineers and some other team members. So he did not had any management team member in his initial days. Ultimately now where he is definitely a different level beast. But in the initial days, he was the engineer who founded this company.
So maybe he's Batman, you're Robin.
I won't say that. Let's not just compare with existing
superheroes.
Superheroes, yeah. It's just like I was doing this interview 5 years ago, I would say that it's me who is doing this. But ultimately, I learned it's we. We as a power can just handle n number of problems, and anything happens within any solar industry. So as a sole person, you can't do that.
I love that.
You have to have a team.
I love that. Let's dive a little deeper. I'll get us back on track because I get us off track, and we know that if you've seen our previous episodes. Back to the solar system, back to the engineering standpoint, back to why engineers care if we haven't already realized that by now. Just this morning, I was on my way to work. I got a call from my staff, Adam. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'll be there shortly. I'll be at the office. It's okay. We're at the house, ready to install the solar system. And nobody's answering the door. We're literally 4 hours away. What do we do? Long story short, the homeowner couple, the two homeowners, okay, one of them decided it was okay to leave that day and go take a trip, which is more than fine. The husband wasn't notified. Everything worked out. We got a hold of the husband. If we hadn't gotten a hold of that husband, the installation would have been rescheduled. Everything would have been fine. But what I'm trying to get at is it would not have just affected the homeowner. It would not have just affected the installation crew that took 4 hours to get to this site, that prepped an hour and a half before that entailed a lot of crew members taking specific panels and double-checking, cross-checking inventory to make that installation was flawless. And they're doing all of this before the break of dawn, before they even get on the road to the destination. And not all our installs are 4 hours away. We do so many right here in the home of Virginia. One of the biggest impacts this would have had, and I don't think, this is me peeling back that onion, I don't think homeowners realize this, is the engineer would have felt this the most. Because the engineer, again, is the hero for a solar installation. The engineer, and you'll see this, from start to finish, is dedicated hour after hour, from designs to what Omkar was saying, permitting and interconnection, making sure everything is flawless to get to that install day. And no one really sees this. It's really behind the scenes. The engineer's heart actually hurts. And when they hurt, the engineer cares. Now think about this. If the engineers care, and Green Brilliance has a team of engineers, we have a team of people actually caring about you, the homeowner. So what I want to get into now, if it's okay with you, is what goes into, let's just start at the beginning of a solar system. Like, deal comes in. When I say deal, okay, a contract is signed. A homeowner goes, yeah, I'm ready to go solar. I've been educated. This is a want. This is a need. It's the right decision. They're pumped. Then this that football kind of gets passed to you, does it not?
Yep.
And how does that
Yes.
start?
So we will call this as a post-sales designing. So what we do, as soon as a deal is signed and comes to us, we check the preliminary design, which is made in a software, like multiple softwares that we use. So in that, what we do, we make sure the number of panels placed on a rooftop is as per the real home design, as in the area, and we make sure that the inverters that we chose is correct. The racking system that we chose is correct.
What's a racking system?
So racking system is the aluminum rods that we put, the mid clamps, head clamps that connects the solar PV, that attach the solar panels on the rooftop, and that. So these are the attachments that we will call it. So we have rails, we have mid clamps, head clamps, we have ground lugs, we have L-foot flashings.
Jeez, I'm thinking Legos.
Yeah, you can say that.
So I'm a picture person. So basically, we've got the sun. Okay, I think the camera can see me. We've got the sun. The sun is coming down, and here are the panels. Let's just for all sanity, the panels. It's on a perfect roof. The roof is kind of here. And in between the roof, would it be fair to say that something needs to hold the solar panels up?
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so that could be racking.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we cannot just stick the solar panels on the rooftop because the heat generated from the sun rays to the solar panels, it will burn the roof. So what we do, we place the rails. So we first put the holes on the roof, and then we make sure that we put the rails on top of it. It's like around 14 to 17 feet rails that we put on the rooftop by the attachments points. We make sure that we put L-foot flashing on the roof, and with the correct measurements, we make sure the spacing between the L-foot flashing. We make sure the solar panels are placed as per the design. So this is called the racking system. So I will go in depth later on.
Sure.
Yeah. So the designing, right? So as soon as we check that inverters, racking system, correct inverter sizing, plus placement of solar panels and the panel brand, the panel wattages, the correct system size, we make sure that do we have any losses. So the loss is very important for us to understand and customers to know, just because the production numbers.
That's what I was getting to. Loss of power. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So losses of power. So if any, let's say example of 10 kilowatt system. So a typical 10 kilowatt system approximately generates around 12,000 kilowatt hour annually. So if we tell, as a solar company, if we tell this to customer should and will understand and will say, okay, since you are a solar company, you are correct. I will make sure that I'm getting this much productions in this year.
You said 12,000. I'm not trying to cut you off. What is this? What is the average consumption for a household per year?
The average consumption, there's no such thing as average consumption because there are multiple factors. So I can't give you a number, ballpark number. But we can say 12,000 kilowatt hour as an average consumption for homeowners. So a 10 kilowatt system will give 100% offset. But this particular losses is important to calculate in the solar PV system because it's just not a normal math. You can't just say that if a 10 kilowatt system will produce 12 kilowatt production hours, kilowatt hour in a year, so 15 kilowatt will produce 22,000. It's not a algorithmic math.
Sure.
It is more than that.
Maybe I may, as a homeowner, I want to leave the AC on all day, 24 hours a day. I have a heated swimming pool. I want that on all day, 24 hours a day. And then all of a sudden I go on vacation for 2 months. So that throws the math off.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
usage.
Yes. So the losses that I'm talking about, it's more than that. So the factors that we consider, it depends on the specific location, depends on the if there are any trees. So there are shading losses, there are soiling losses, there are snow losses. So there are multiple things. So it depends on the weather conditions, the location of the home. It depends on the I would say home type, when it was built. It depends on multiple factors.
Sure, we've done many homes from, 1970 all the way up to now. We truly have.
Exactly. So for a particular home, we can't say that 10 kilowatt system size will produce 12,000. It may be less, it may be more. It all depends on what losses we consider while doing the calculation. So as soon as a system is signed and comes to us, we make sure that we do this due diligence, and after that it goes to the next stage. So next stage would be sending this design to the engineering department. What they do, they create an AutoCAD design. We have 5 different designs that we do typically. It's Z001, S001, S002, E001, and E002. And there's another line diagram which we say G001. So G001 consists of your home, the location, your map, the screenshot of your home. As there are 2 different screenshots that shows where exactly your house is being pinned. So the location of your house, the address, the equipments list, everything is in the first page.
So G could be the master, almost.
Not master, it's just the level
key,
1 key.
The legend,
yeah, key of
if
the,
you say. Is that a better word?
That's right.
Amkar is making me sound much smarter today. I really appreciate that,
yep,
man.
And,
So as you're talking about this, it sounds like there's obviously a lot of time that goes into this solar design, that goes into this process.
And it requires accuracy.
Even more so. And so back in my days after college, I was in the restaurant business for a little while. Okay, just like almost anyone and everyone. I lasted about 2 years. And every time we would open a restaurant, we're on track to open June. And honestly, it would be September. That's just how it was. One of the biggest constraints that I noticed is when I was working with the architects, they would meticulously lay out and draw these plans for the restaurants. They would have to go back, get them redone, re-signed, reauthorized, if you will, by the county. I'm probably not using the correct terminology, but at the end of the day, that was one of the, okay, now this front door, it can't be this far. It has to be this close. Okay, well, now this egress out. The door's got to go out. I'm not trying to hound the doors, but that's the first thing on my mind. Or the fire inspection it's not going to get approved. I'm also, as you're talking about this, I'm thinking about that it's a very, very recent, and they were very good at this. I believe it was like an IBM commercial, and there was this guy with these glasses, and I do wear glasses. Okay, I'm hiding them today. He was sitting behind this computer, and he had a cup of coffee in front of him. And he was, all of a sudden, he just kind of looked tired and strayed. And all of a sudden, he lit up. And the music went on. And it was like the sun was shining. And all of a sudden, he just kept going, I'm plugging away. Button. The cup of coffee wasn't touched. And it was all of a sudden brought to you, and it went AI. It was like the power of AI. So what I'm getting at is, when we're starting the solar project, is this a start to finish kind of all manual, like that old school architect going over these plans? Has, honestly, everything evolved to where AI is being used? You talked a little bit about software. Bring that into me. Bring that, because I'm thinking time right now. I mean, our installs are literally under 120 days. So how is that possible?
It's 60, not 120. Yeah. So
there you go. See?
So basically, until I think last year, mid of last year, we were completely into manual design. So as soon as any customer, any sales rep request for a design, in reality, the manual design takes around 15 to 20 minutes to make sure that the panels are placed correctly, the inverters chosen are of correct size, the racking is of correct dimensions and everything. On top of that, we make sure that we do all the losses calculation correctly so that the final design comes with a correct production number. That production number is very important. But now what's happening, all the sales rep, all the customer, they just need to get anything instantly. They can't wait for even like 30 minutes. If that 30 minutes is delayed, if any customer gets into that 30 minutes, whatever is in their mind to make a decision will get delayed. So
I'll attest to that. I mean, literally, if you're at the home, and say I'm the homeowner and there's a sales representative in front of me.
Same with Amazon, I would say, right? Like if you can't get delivered in 2 days,
no, it's got to be now. I'm paying money. What do you mean you don't know what you're talking about?
Correct.
What do you mean? I can't see a design right now? Well, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, if I don't know what's going on with my house, you're a vacuum salesman. Get out.
Exactly. So what we have done, we have partnered with Blaze. Blaze is a software that automatically
I like that word, Blaze.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. So it automatically converts if any customer, any homeowner, if he enters the home address and if he enters the utility bill number, he will automatically get that design when I say design, that means placement of panels on the roof, the calculation of the production number, the number of the count of solar panels, the inverter being chosen, and multiple different things for any customer to know as in a prelim. So this happens within seconds. So this is done by the AI. So why we have trusted Blaze? Because they have done rigorous exercise of having thousands of such different addresses, different addresses plus different situations, multiple different timings plus different months, and they have compared this with the existing solar softwares, right? So Blaze has determined approximately 95 to 97% of accuracy of the production number. So softwares like
what you see is what you get.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the other softwares, they are manual, they are not automated, right? So even doing this manual designing, it takes few minutes or so to make that particular design to be ready. But Blaze does it like within seconds. So that accuracy is very important to build the trust factor.
So I could sit at my house, plug in an address, give a few more details, and literally right then and there.
Right.
I'm not necessarily that IBM commercial because I do drink coffee, but it's an accurate design is in front of me.
Correct. That's right. So it's similar to Google Maps. You put an address, you'll get a location like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
is that being used anywhere else? Or is that new? Or is this one of the...
This is not new, but it's not being known by a lot of people right now. So Blaze is very new software. And we are doing multiple iterations right now. But the accuracy level of production number is very much accurate.
So as we're talking about this design, and we've mentioned racking, we'll go into solar panels, and we talked about what an inverter is already. Again, I am starting to think Legos for a minute. My 4-year-old Logan, and we'll know where we're going with this in a second. Okay, he loves Legos, and sometimes you got to give a child a little bit of support. So at the end of his Lego project, that house that he's trying to build may look like an elephant, okay? Or it may really not have a roof. It may not necessarily be structurally sound, or maybe everything is red, and then for some reason, I guess he ran out of the red and just started using pink, and it's fine. And at the end of the day, cool. Not what I'm trying to get as he doesn't necessarily know what he's really putting into this house. And so if you were to sell that house to someone, to a homeowner, okay, so turn that Lego into, make sure that let's turn that Lego into like a perfect Lego house and now a real house. Maybe the homeowner, maybe the homeowner, wouldn't necessarily know what type of materials, what's really going into this project. So I'm getting at transparency. Mm-hmm. At Green Brilliance, is what you see what you get? Is the client informed? Take that design and talk to me about what is actually used in that design to really make a solar system.
Sure. So the products, the materials that we use as Green Brilliance is always top of the grade, and we make sure that all the customers know that what they are going to have on their rooftop and at their place, at their home. So the main factors, the main products that any customer needs to know is the solar panels, inverters, and the racking system.
Okay.
Right. The solar panels, the most important knowledge that any customer should know is about the difference between monocrystalline and polycrystalline. So
mono and poly. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So why I'm saying this, because most of the customers are being fooled by getting the least expensive and least efficient panels being installed just because they see a higher wattage number. So the difference, I can just let me take a couple of minutes and explain the difference between mono
I'm learning.
and poly.
This is good. Yeah, I don't know.
Most of the homeowners, they don't understand the basics of like solar panel, how it is made, how much efficiency a single solar panel can get. So the difference between the two is the wattage, first of all, and the amount of production, the power you can get from each solar panel, and ultimately like whole solar PV system. So it all depends on the manufacturing. So the monocrystalline solar panel is being manufactured using multiple cells, and single cell is being manufactured using a single ingot of silicon.
Okay.
And it's being cut, the wafers is being cut in very thin layers, and those wafers are being cut into proper rectangular cells, and those cells are being used for this mono panels. And for poly, it's a mix of crystalline, not impure I would say, but crystalline crystals. Crystals I would say, and those crystals are easy to manufacture and easy to create a solar panel using those.
What's the difference? Like to me,
so it
or
all
a homeowner, what is the difference? Because again, like if I'm going back to those Legos, I don't mean to cut you off, and I'm buying that house, and I've got a pink Lego up top on the roof, which Daddy put there to make sure that Logan had his full roof. I don't really understand the difference. I don't know. I don't care.
So the most important, so I'll start from the single unit. So single mono panel, let's say the wattage is 410 wattage, okay?
Okay.
So the efficiency of that is, I would say 92 to 96%, for example. And if you compare that with a 550 watt poly panel, the efficiency is 72%. So if you do the math, 72% of 550 would be certain amount, let's say 460 for now. And 92 to 96% of 410 would be a certain number. That's 380, for example. So
you know that in your head.
Yeah.
I didn't have to bring out.
So as of now, let's say the system size of mono panels is 10 kilowatt. Okay. And if you install the same number of panels, let's say 25 panels of 550 watt panels, the system size would be close to 14 kilowatt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the production for any customer, they will always think that I'm getting a cheaper PV system of poly panels of 14 kilowatt.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah. And the efficiency, the power that the customer can get would be more. Like for 10 kilowatt system, he's getting 12,000 kilowatt of production. For 14 kilowatt, he might be getting 17,000 kilowatt hours. So he's like, oh, wow, this is like really good.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm like extra strength
Correct.
Tylenol. I'm at the grocery store and I'm looking, all right, there's Tylenol. There's extra strength Tylenol. And then for some reason, it's maximum strength Tylenol. Okay.
Yeah, kind of. So, but ultimately what happens after first year, the production of whole PV system of poly would be much lesser than mono. Second year, it would be much more. Third year, it would be much more. So the graph of mono decreases very gradually for 25, 30, 35 years. But for poly, the graph declines very rapidly. So ultimately, after 5, 10, 15 years, you won't get enough power from that polycrystalline solar panels. So that's the main difference. So that's why any homeowner, if he wants to get a solar PV system installed, so we want to make sure that customers should ask whether the solar panels are mono or poly. If they are a poly, then they should say just bye. They don't want to. They should not.
So there's transparency.
Correct. Mono panels are the only ones that should be installed for any residential solar property, not the poly.
So this is not necessarily like if I'm the homeowner and I'm not going to use any names. Okay, I usually would. Where I'm, I would. Where I'm looking for a house and there's those huge, beautiful, developed communities, and they're not all bad. And they're offering a 30-year warranty on everything. And you walk in and there's a beautiful bathroom, and you've got your own. You've even got your own sink, which is kind of cool. So you move in with your wife, and then a year later, the AC goes down, and that long warranty doesn't cover that part in that AC. So it's not necessarily, again, I went away from the Legos. It's not necessarily like that. Like you're actually, at least with Green Brilliance, you know what you're getting, you know its quality, exactly. And we still back it with a warranty.
That's right.
Okay.
So the warranty we provide, it's definitely 30 years of warranty. That is a workmanship warranty.
So nobody's hiding.
Exactly. And the product warranty is separate for sure. So the workmanship warranty, what does it cover? It covers all the flaws, anything happens to the solar PV system for that 30 years period. Let's say after 5 years, something happens to your wiring, or something happens to the conduit, or something, let's say the
conduit is that thing that eloquently comes down from the panels down the house to attach to the electrical system. That's for the most part. Okay.
Correct. So if anything happens to the solar PV system in terms of the installation quality, or if there's any flaws during the install, that usually doesn't happen. That's why we give the 30 years of warranty.
Got it.
We trust our crew members.
So throughout this conversation so far, we have covered really what goes into a design. We've talked about Blaze. honestly, still, and I'm going to emphasize this, the engineer is the hero to all of this. We must appreciate the engineers for a plethora of reasons, okay? And I'm going back to, I think it was my first podcast where I don't even know what the title of it was, but I think it was around 100% offset or maximum efficiency. And then I go to maximum efficiency. What really makes a maximum solar panel system, like a maximized system that's working? What entails that? Obviously, it starts from the design, but give me a little bit of detail on really why I would care, going with Green Brilliance, why our designs are maximized for that home, for that homeowner.
Sure. So to get the maximum efficiency, that is 100% offset, it means that if you have a usage of, let's say, 100 units, okay, so you need to make sure that the solar power that you are generating from solar PV system is covering that 100 units of usage in a particular 1 year period, just for the example. Okay. So that means 100% offset.
1 year.
Yeah, we say 1 year, and it just periodically
sure.
keeps on having 100% offset. So we can't determine what happens after 2-3 years about like weather conditions. That's why we say that 100% offset is covered for 1 year.
Or if maybe I'm the homeowner and I decide to just plant a tree that just overlooks the entire roof. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. The offset will come down.
Sure.
So that 100% offset, so solar PV system, it converts the power and gives the production the power, right? Mm-hmm. So any homeowner should not be just satisfied with having this 100% offset and be like, okay, I mean, it's a really good thing, like having 100% offset and just getting a $0 bill, which a lot of our customers is having. So whenever we say 100% offset, we make sure that customer is getting a $0 bill. We are not promising, but it's ultimately getting that $0 bill. Right?
So like, again, I'm the homeowner and I am blessed. My wife is very good. She does her clothes at different hours of the day. We itemize kind of everything on how we utilize our electricity to save energy. But you're telling me that a plethora of our clients have zero or close to $0 utility bills.
That's right. So that's a real blessing, and they are fortunate enough to get that thing, just because if any home is having a certain amount of usage, they may not have the enough roof space to have the placement of panels to get the 100%. They may not have a good number of clean or perfect level of...
Like the house is in a forest. And again, exactly. the sun really can't penetrate all of those trees in the forest.
And they don't have the... they can't get the trees being cut down just because there are some
trees
rules.
Are cool too.
Rules to not cutting down, I would say, but trimming. Yeah. So even that is not possible as homeowners.
Sometimes I think trees and the sun should just work together.
That's true.
I mean,
the placement should be different. That's all.
I mean, they're getting light from the sun, and it's almost like we don't like houses, sleep on the ground. Sometimes, but
yeah, that's exactly. So to get that 100%, we need to have a proper roof surface, the proper area on the roof to cover all the placement of panels. It should not have any shading. It should have a perfect tilt of 37 degree. So these are the multiple things that can lead to 100% offset, and also the usage should be such that it has the equivalent level of having the solar panels to be placed to cover that 100%. But what I want to cover here is why any customer is getting 100 units of electricity. Why not having the same comfort? They can reduce the usage.
Okay.
So that is done by having a proper home energy audit done. So because any house, if there's let's say the AC is on, let's say HVAC unit is on for 6 hours, 8 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Why not having that HVAC unit to be operated just for 2 hours? So what home energy audit does, it checks all the different insulation levels, different fenestration. It checks the appliances, it checks the HVAC unit. It makes sure that everything is compliant. Are there any leakages from the doors, windows? Are there any leakage, or is the insulation level on the roof attic is correct or not? Because if you want to have a proper comfort for in the house, why are you spending dollars to cover 100 units? You can spend dollars to cover 80 units and have the same level of comfort. That's why home energy audits are very necessary, since it covers all these things. And having solar PV system of let's say 25 panels to cover 100% offset, you can get the same 100% offset by having 20 panels on the same rooftop by giving her 80 units, having the same comfort.
So is an energy audit like some official guy coming out to the house? Like what is an energy audit? Like
so energy
think
audit,
of that, like I'm the energy audit guy.
Yeah,
like,
you can't. This is not a DIY project. You can't just do using some devices, some gadgets. You can't do energy audit. You should have a certified guy come to your house. He should be certified enough with the certain bodies. The two major bodies is ResNet and PPI. These are equivalent level of bodies which does the energy audit.
And I'm assuming they're certified. They go through licensing.
Exactly. It's a rigorous process of 8 to 12 months. So they give around 5 to 8 level of exams, and all level of exams is like piling up on top of each other. So, and we call these as energy auditors.
Don't bring me back to school, man. Come on.
Yeah. So that's the difficult level. But after that, once anyone is certified as a individual or as a company, then he has the power to make that decision and give the energy audit certificate. So that will say to the homeowner that your home is, let's say, I'm just giving the percent level of number.
No.
70%, like your home is 70% of efficient. Like 80%, 90% or 40%. So based on that, any homeowner should know different levels of changes that he or she needs to do. He may need to just change the attic insulation to avoid leakage of the comfort level, or leakage of the air, for example. And doors or windows, let's say there's a leakage from doors and windows, then he or she needs to know whether replacing doors or windows is necessary, or he or she can just do some insulation at the boundary of the windows and doors. And this should not be just one-time recommendation by any auditor. It should be a consistent monthly,
quality
quarterly
process.
Exactly. So it should any energy auditor or any energy auditing company should tell customer that what can be done within a month, within 3 months, 6 months, depending on different financial situation, because this is not a $10, $100 investment. It's a thousands of dollars investment. Exactly. Yeah. But after that, you'll have a comfort level, because this investment does last long for 20 years, 25 years.
Make a note of this. I want to get an energy auditor on the show.
Sure. So after that, it's like once you do the investment after a couple of months or years, then it's a lifetime, not lifetime, but it has a big, like huge amount of that I would say not comfort level, but let's say you buy an iPhone, so you trust that brand, right? You
Google.
Can say within
Google.
I
do. I use Google. Okay.
Okay. So Google, you can trust. If you spend some dollars to invest something, to search on Google,
sure,
you can say that you have that trust level, and you can have a trust for that investment for 20 years. So something like that. Security. Yeah.
I mean, if you're spending, the average solar system around $20,000-$30,000. If you're spending that amount of money, yeah, I definitely want it to be I definitely want that to be efficient.
Correct.
I'm not just burning that money.
Correct.
Okay?
And not everyone,
in this economy.
Right. And not everyone is comfortable to get this thing done, because they think that after, if any auditor comes, then he will definitely try to upsell. Yeah, he will try to find something and upsell. And he want that decision to be made by the homeowner immediately. Within a week or so, right? But we are partnered with an NRFI Home. So what NRFI Home does is they make sure that if any energy auditor goes to any person, any home, he definitely come up with different recommendations, and he say that you are not obligated to do anything right now. Here is the plan. Like within 3 months, if you do this, you will save this much amount of usage. If you do this after 6 months, you will save this much amount of your leakage or this and that. So NRFI Home is a company
NRFI Home. I love that.
Mm-hmm, thank you. It serves like all the 5 states that we are serving. So
this reminds me of a friend. They took their car to the dealership, and I won't use names. I won't use the type of car, and they do a diagnostic test, and it comes back with the brakes need adjustments, the transmission needs to be done, the AC needs to be changed. The exhaust is about to go. And then they have these levels of critical, like green, yellow, red, and all of them are red. That's why nobody really wants to bring their car
Right.
to the
That's the
dealership.
scare. Exactly.
They're scared. And at the same time, the information they get back, sure, it might be valuable, but a lot of it might be, well, you can really go with those brakes for another 9 months.
Of course.
Or, no, seriously, like it's squealing, like let's change these brakes now. So I am relating that to this kind of.
Yeah, it's very relatable. That's
Okay.
true.
Amazing. So let's, again, that 100%, it's still in my mind. Say I, the homeowner, I have 100% offset. And in previous podcasts, I go on and on about the utility companies are picketing our windows. They're outside, they don't like me, but that's not the truth. We, as Green Brilliance, we work with utility companies. We work with Dominion. We were at their home office about a month ago, okay? Dominion is making huge strides to work on the Virginia energy credit. How does that household, that 100% off household, relate to not just Dominion, but to a utility company?
So all these states have a mandate to have like most of the homes to be zero carbon emission. That's like having run by the renewable sources, because they also want to avoid the dependency on the grid. So ultimately, all the states, all the utilities, they have such mandate to have less dependency on the grid and more dependency on renewable energy slowly, in like phase of like few months, few years, few
I think it's by 2035.
That's the goal.
I mean, I'm not a bookworm. That's like a low level.
The goal is always changing.
Yeah.
So more than that, what these utility companies are being told by the federal government is to increase the dependency on renewable sources. Most important would be the solar PV system installation and the energy audits on the residential property particularly. There are commercial as well, but we can talk about commercial later on.
Sure.
But on the residential properties, so the mandate that they have, they want to make sure that they cover most of the homes. And if any customer, let's say the offset is 100% offset of using 100 credits, 100 units, and homeowner uses just 60 or 80. Let's say homeowner goes for a vacation for 2-3 months. So the usage drops down to 20%, 30%, maybe less, right?
Sure.
So the extra...
Using my examples now.
Yeah. So using that extra power, which is being generated by solar PV system, if not consumed by the home, it goes to the grid. So the grid gets that power, that extra additional energy from homeowners.
So the homeowner is giving the utility something pretty much.
Right.
Okay.
If the excess is being generated, right?
Sure.
So how homeowner is being awarded? So the utility companies gives back the credit to the homeowner. So it's a reverse game. So you don't have to pay the bill, but if you're not using, if you have excess power from your home, you get the credits from the utility company. So that's the power of solar. That's the power of wind as well. If you go to the commercial,
that's fantastic.
It's like give and take.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right. So I'm not really changing subjects, but this kind of popped in my head. What's the deal with batteries? I get a lot of phone calls about, do I need a battery? What does a battery entail? How many batteries do I need? I want to be that house that is somehow magically transformed onto a huge rock in the middle of nowhere and rely on no one and nothing. You see where I'm going with this. Talk to me about how a battery relates to a solar system.
Sure.
A PV solar system battery,
Right.
that is, not the ones.
So home batteries should not be considered as just a backup for any homeowner for the power outages. So what most of the customer thinks, like it's similar to the battery getting operated when there's no power. Like let's say there's a power outage for 7 days and
then you need it.
Then you need a home battery. It should not be considered like that.
So don't think of that, Adam.
Exactly.
That's what I'm thinking.
There are multiple usage of home batteries. So the most important is definitely backup. Let's say there's a power outage.
Okay.
So the amount of energy that you have collected through the solar panels, the power or energy you have collected through the grid, you can store in the batteries and you can use when there's a power outage, right? Another usage of batteries is, let's say, in a typical day, there are certain hours in the day and night where you have difference in the number of the kilowatt hour, dollar per kilowatt hour unit, the unit price.
It's cheaper for me, the homeowner.
So there's a difference. So during nighttime, the dollar per kilowatt hour unit price of electricity is more. During daytime, it's less. So there's many fluctuations throughout the US, and depends on the community, depends on the utility. Any customer, he or she just needs to use the power during the day. During nighttime, why you need to pay more to utility? You can have a battery, and the second usage of battery is having the controlling when to use the battery. So let's say you can set up a timer in the battery, and you can say like during daytime, just collect the energy from solar PV system, store excess power in the battery, and during nighttime use it. Don't be dependent on the grid for your usage during nighttime.
Independence.
You can usage from the battery.
I still love you, Dominion.
And using that, you can literally reduce the utility bill as your monthly utility bill. Instead of paying, let's say, $10 to $50 after having solar PV system, if you are using the power from the battery during that time, you can have the negative bills.
Okay, so let's take this a step further. Let's go a little deeper, as Sumit always says. Okay, let's dig deeper. I'm a homeowner. I have 100% offset. We're using that theme. We're gonna use that throughout an entire podcast series. I have 100% offset, and I have a battery. What does that mean?
So if you have 100% offset and you have a battery, so the best way to use that battery is to use that excess power during the nighttime. That's what I would say.
Okay.
And there are certain spikes that happens during anytime during the week. Let's say there's an inrush of current from any appliances, let's say AC, HVAC. If you turn on the HVAC, there's an inrush of current. The requirement of power.
I want to heat. Let's just keep it very simple for me. I want to heat my swimming pool, so I turn the heater on for that swimming pool. That's that spike.
Correct.
Okay,
and that happens for just a couple of seconds, but that spike accumulates to a lot of dollars during that period of seconds or minutes.
Sure.
And after that, it comes down, and there's a set level of the power to be provided by the grid. So the most important usage in this states and the region that we serve is to use battery as a backup during the night time. I mean, you should set a timer to the battery saying that, let's say you're using power from solar PV system during daytime, and excess you can put to the battery and use during the night time.
Okay.
When there's a need, and you can repeat this cycle every day. What will happen ultimately, there would be a recycling, there would be a discharge and charge of the batteries, and that will, if this happens, so there's a SOC as in state of charge, and a DOC, that's discharge of charge.
Discharge of charge.
Yeah.
Okay.
So SOC, I won't go much details into that technicality, but the most important thing to know is you should not charge the battery above 90%, and you should not let it discharge below 10%. So let's say if any battery is idle for weeks, you are not using. So whatever the power you have saved in the battery will ultimately discharge. And if that discharge is less than 10 to 20% or less, then ultimately the battery will go bad. So,
this is maybe a little off subject, but is that why, like with my EV, when I bought it, they told me try not to charge it past 80 and try not to get it lower than 20%?
Yeah, you can say that. The 90-10 is just the number I told. It could be 80-20.
But it's around the same concept.
Same concept.
They said it will ruin the battery.
That's right. You should not overcharge, and you should not undercharge.
I still overcharge.
Right. You should not
let
it.
Range.
Yeah, because that's the basic principles of battery. You should not let it discharge for a longer time, and you should not charge it over. So that changes the chemical composition of the battery. So the next thing I would like to talk about, the most important thing homeowners should know. The most important is the trusted warranty. Any battery that customer wants to know, he or she should know about that company's background, what particular warranty is these companies are providing. So if the warranty is more than 10 to 15 years, so it's a really good warranty, and is the company which is backing up, whether it's a brand or third party, is it like really trustworthy? Because anything can happen during the power outage or during any time. So at that time, customer should know if he is contacting that company for any battery replacement or any troubleshooting, then the customer service rep should respond to the customer on timely basis. That's how you can get the most investment from your battery, because batteries are not cheap.
So No, they're not. They're
Right.
extremely expensive.
Yeah. And second thing would be the chemical. Sorry to cut you off,
No,
but
no.
second thing is the chemical composition. So the most trusted chemical composition batteries is NMC and LFP. NMC is nickel, magnesium, cobalt,
Okay.
and LFP is lithium, iron, phosphate. So these are different compositions, and why these are being most used home batteries is because of the safety. The most important part, because the battery is connected to the electrical panel and to the house. You have to make sure the safety is most
That's
important.
what Enphase was talking about last episode.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So safety is most important, and on top of that, we need to make sure that whatever external appliances, new appliances are being connected to the battery through the electrical panel needs to handle that unexpected power surge or whatever it is to the battery. So the battery connection, the battery chemical composition is very important for any homeowner to know. And the third thing would be either how many batteries does a customer needs. It should be does the customer needs to cover all the appliances, all the home appliances to his battery. That is, we call it as a full home backup. Or does customer just needs to back up a couple of breakers or couple of appliances?
That's honestly, that's the second question following the battery. Well, what can I do with it?
So exactly. So
Like,
the
is
full
it really
home and
going to
partial
help
home.
me? Am I partial versus full? It's literally it's a mystery to most homeowners, and honestly, sometimes it's a mystery to me.
So I would say most of the customers should go as a partial home backup, because partial home just serves like couple of breakers, couple of appliances. Let's say you need couple of lights to be on during the power outage. Let's say you need to have fridge to be operational, and couple of units. So that comes into the partial home backup. And full home would be if you want to have the HVAC unit to be on, if you need heat pump, swimming pool needs to be on during the power outage as well. So you need to have that full home backup, battery backup system to be in your house. So that customer should understand the importance of both and should consider, because full home backup is really expensive and partial home is not that expensive. And
Wants versus needs.
Yeah, it depends on the needs. That's right.
So I want to transition away from the batteries. Just transition away from the batteries. You've made this make sense finally. Homeowners, as you know, wants versus needs with batteries. We'll just end it there. I think everyone knows this by now. I do have a small phone call or a small chat with whoever gets on the show the day before, the night before, whatever it is. Usually I interrupt them at dinner. I just randomly talk to them. And one of the things that got brought up when we discussed this briefly yesterday, kind of what we were going to talk about, what we were going to do, I said, let's keep it natural. And really, other than that, is there anything in particular you want to bring up? Before you even said that, okay, my ADD kicked in, and I went advancements, Green Brilliance, advancements. Green Brilliance is always cutting edge. We have been in business for over 17 years for a reason. We are always trying to get better. What are some of the things that Green Brilliance is working on, whether it be products, whether it be working with Blaze, that are really affecting the homeowner in a positive direction?
Sure. So we have a huge team of market intelligence, the research team that understands the current market, understands the human emotion, understands what's happening throughout the US, what's going on with the supply chain, which panels, which inverters are being manufactured for the next generation. That's like 3 months from now, 6 months from now. And are we on top of that? Are we making sure that the customer is getting the best products possible at this current moment? Because what other companies do, they try to sell and they try to market the previous generation products just to get the customer in hand. But
Sure.
What we do as a company, we make sure that the customer gets the top of the grade, the most advanced products. So that the product, for example, solar panels. As of now, we all know that 410 panels are the panels that are being used and being installed at the
Kind of like a standard.
Right. But very less people, very less company knows that 430 wattage panels are being manufactured, and these will be available within next 2 months or so.
Oh wow!
Same with REC 450 and 460 watt panels. So these are top of the grade panels, premium panels, which are very expensive, but at least customer will get the value out of it. So
REC will be on the show in a few months, so I'm going to probe
Awesome.
them now. I'm actually...
So why this is needed for Green Brilliance as a company is to provide the best value for the customer. And the second thing that we have a product line of Neurobots. So what Neurobots is?
Neurobots.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Right.
All right.
So it's a proprietary product of Green Brilliance. So it's a residential transformer. So what it does, it understands the usage of any home. So let's say a customer using, let's say HVAC from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It can be controlled by thermostat, or it can be controlled using some timers.
Okay.
But Neurobots as a residential transformer, it understands the usage, the habits of any customer or any homeowners, right? So
it is like a robot.
It's
type of
kind
thing?
of. So we have like the algorithm. So we have AI and ML technology inside it inbuilt. So it won't give you the benefits immediately within a month or so. But let's say after 3 months, 6 months, it learns. So that learning part is something that is being implemented into Neurobots through ML, machine learning. So after 6 months or after 1 year, once that machine understands that Neurobots understands the usage and the habits of the homeowner, it will ultimately make certain decisions on behalf of homeowner to have that usage less. I talked about the 100 units and you can go below 80, right?
Sure.
So it can be automatically done by this Neurobots.
It's
so
not going to like choose when I eat dinner.
Right. It's
No,
like
okay.
it's like a bamboo tree, I would say, the Chinese bamboo that we talk about. For 5 years, it won't show the growth. But after 5 years is done, it will ultimately grow like 10 feet plus in just 8 weeks. So that similar technology, I would say, it's not a correct analogy, I would say.
No, it's a...
But Neurobots is something like that. It won't get
a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, it won't reap the benefits immediately, but it will give the benefits after 6-8 months. And ultimately, customer needs to understand that anything should not be manual. Like ultimately, we are going into AI phase, ML, right? So it should be something automated, and it should be done for the homeowner. It should be done for the human, not the other way around.
So Neurobots is a product offered by Green Brilliance, okay, that is an option to pair with a solar system.
Correct.
Okay, and you've mentioned benefits. What are your, I would say, top 3 benefits? I'm the homeowner. I want Neurobots. What is it going to do for me? Like, make that make sense.
Sure. So most of the homeowners, they are now dependent on turning off manual breakers, sometimes turning off, turning on and off. I mean, let's say you went for a vacation, or you have to go to certain emergency visit,
Sure.
and you forgot to turn off your heat pump or HVAC or swimming pool. So why should you waste that extra amount of power when you just don't need it, right? You're not at home. And let's say, and this can be controlled by a smart panel, but smart panel does not, it is also done by human. You have to go and turn off wherever you are, right? But
if I'm lazy and I just want to go, honey, let's get on the road and let's go see your mom. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to think about anything else.
And let's say you are out of state, out of country, and you're off for like a month or so. So that extra wastage of electricity is not needed. It's not just getting wasted of the dollars for a homeowner. I mean, homeowner can just pay like $500,000. Doesn't matter. But ultimately, we are wasting the fossil fuels grid energy if not connected by solar, right? So what Neurobots is aiming, the most important benefit is like once it starts learning, it will say that, okay, homeowner is not here, he is not being accessible. It is not, these are just the words, but automatically
just go roll with it.
It will just turn off certain appliances, certain things during the time. By itself. Right. It does not even need human intervention. And
but it's not going to wake me up in the middle of the night.
Right. And of course not. So ultimately, homeowner will see, okay, this is doing on my behalf. So they don't have to dependent on the human. So it is doing for the human. That's the best part about Neurobots.
I love that. So essentially, it's helping us think better. It's helping
being independent. I mean, not dependent on certain things.
I love that. I love that. And this is probably not even a good transition, but as we all know, I don't really do transitions. I was reading a little bit last night, and a word consistently popped up. VPP. VPP. And I didn't really read enough to really understand what a VPP was, but it sounded pretty cool. So I actually want to use this opportunity to just learn, like, what is a VPP? What does it have to do with solar? And honestly, what does a VPP stand for?
So VPP means virtual power plant. It's basically from like previous generation and until now, a lot of people are dependent on certain different departments. Like a homeowner is dependent on utility to for the electricity to, as a grid, right? You have to pay to utility to get the power. You have to be dependent on certain different departments for certain things. You have to, let's say there's certain need for any homeowner, then he needs to be dependent on someone. So VPP creates an independent virtual power plant. It's kind of a combination of lot of renewable sources, battery backup, home management system. So you don't have to be dependent on someone. It's a very unique independence. That's what VPP is inclined towards. It's just a virtual power plant to be having that independency and not to be dependent on someone else. So one of the important part is home management system, using which homeowner can decide just to be independent and not to be dependent on grid. And this is very different from the off-grid projects.
How are you so smart, man? Like, what the heck?
I need to be on top of it.
I went to school too. All right.
Innovation is something that I like.
What else do you like?
Innovation and engineering. Being market intelligence is something that I just like it. Because I need to be aware of what's going on around me. And since I was, since the beginning of my career, I was very much open to see what's going on around me in terms of renewable sources, right? So I like to be updated by myself, because if anyone asks me anything, I feel proud to answer those questions without any hesitation.
You care.
Yep, I care.
Care for the homeowner.
Yep, that's
and that brings us really back to the beginning of the podcast, where I truly went. The engineer cares. The engineer is the hero. The engineer is the one that feels it in their gut when that install, when the crew is at that door ready to install that solar system and that door is not opening. It's not just time. It's not just we have to come back. It's not just wasted gas. It's those things. And honestly, the homeowner was looking forward to that system installation, to all of the work that went into it. It's all of the dedication, the transparency, the homeowner knew what they were buying. The homeowner got an accurate, time-sensitive, but accurate, mixed with a little bit of AI design. If they chose to go with a battery, they knew the difference between the batteries. They knew to look on and go through their due diligence on why they were selecting that battery. They knew how many batteries to get. Basically, what I'm getting at is, behind the scenes, we have peeled back that onion. The core is that engineer, that hero. Omkar, you're wearing that cape, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Sure.
As I was asking Omkar about cutting edge technologies, we were discussing neurobots and really the need to constantly strive to be better. As we've been in business for over 17 years, that doesn't happen by accident, okay? What would you say about our presence and what we do to make an impact, to really stress green brilliance and to provide an impact? Because again, homeowners pay attention to this.
That's true. So I spoke about market intelligence. So the most important
I wanted to pick up on that. Yeah.
Sure. So the most important thing that we do as a company is to keep up with the market. So what we do, we make sure that we have a presence in most of the conferences happening in states as well as abroad. So by doing that, we make sure that we speak to a lot of people in the industry, whether those are as a product manufacturers, business partners, installers, EPC companies, finance partners, maybe some like customers, guests, school students, high school, whoever it is. We make sure that we try to gain knowledge from them, try to share what we have as a knowledge, and that these conferences are the is the platform for us to have that presence, get the knowledge, and give the knowledge. So we are proud to have that presence, and ultimately, as a company, we are the leading EPC company just because of this. We try to make sure that we understand what's happening around us, and if it is ethically good, we try to pursue that.
So what are we doing?
As in,
what are we doing? Are we going to events? We
go to a lot of events. Like one of the topmost conferences, the RE Plus, where we go. NAPSEP conference, where it's a technical educational platform. The conference
sounds boring. Make it sound unboring.
It's not boring for me as an engineer, I would say. It may be boring for others, but basically the knowledge that we gain from that, it's very, very, it's next level. Just because we are updated with the latest IEC codes, the latest whatever standards and codes, the certifications that needs to happen, that needs to
well, actually, that's not boring. We have to be cutting edge. We have to be up to date.
So all the sessions are like 3 hours long in the NAPSEP conferences. We have to sit there. We have to gain knowledge. We have to make sure that we do certain exercises over there. And NAPSEP is boring, but RE Plus, I would say it's interesting.
I don't want to take anything away from it. I mean, maybe it's boring, but at the end of the day, you get out of it and you go, now I can actually impact some lives.
That's true. That's ultimate goal is to do that. Yeah. If we did not do all these creating the presence, then we are not on top of all the latest trends that's going on. That's why whenever I say innovation, it's not just sitting at a desk and just trying to Google around what's happening.
That guy at the AI to go out. IBM commercial with the coffee. It's not just AI. I'm not plugging IBM, by the way.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly. You have to go out. You have to attend such conferences to gain knowledge, to understand what's happening. And then through your knowledge, through your experience, you make sure that you are doing good for the customers, ultimately.
Umkar, I appreciate you being here, my man. I mean, I do see it every day, but at the end of the day, I actually learned some things. You're teaching me. I felt like I went back to school for a little while, but that's okay. At the end of the day, Green Brilliance Live, Herndon, downtown Herndon, powering a solar future. Homeowners, I hope you understand by now. We care. You care. The engineers truly care. The heroes of the solar future.